Hello, bud.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
I'm excited. Let me get everything set and good to go so we can get you there. I think I'm gonna have it so that I'm just gonna have you in the room, which is gonna be pretty exciting. We're just gonna dive in to what
Okay.
happened because you didn't get the opportunity to have much of a say of the fate that happened at the end of the misdemeanor and wanted to
Yeah,
give
catch everybody up,
I will.
including me.
So first, I'm gonna just take you to the scene right now of where you're at. And we had a couple of questions and a couple of ultimate things that we wanted to figure out and resolve. So at the end of misdemeanor, I gave everyone the warning to bow out now if you haven't watched that last episode. At the end of misdemeanor, after you defeated the creature within the chamber, you ended up getting targeted with petrification, a petrification ray along with Leighton. You both failed the saves and you became petrified into stone for a day. This caused, fortunately, instead of being permanently petrified, as what happened a la Sterling, you had
Right.
you had Malcolm as well as Kyron, who knew the Greater Restoration spell. The way I'm kind of pitching it is that Leighton got unpetrified first. That was the first thing that happened. And you, I'm going to say, like, Kyron was having difficulty trying to unpetrify. It was a very long it was a long time to actually unpetrify. It isn't just the snap of a finger. It's very complex magics to return you back to human form, to mortal blood, mortal form. While that was happening, a conversation started by Malcolm. What do we do with the book? Because after reading the research, Malcolm believed that he found the ritual that would be necessary to take the Nigel book and use it as a weapon, but ultimately discovered a way to also release Nigel the Curse, which requires 4 powerful arcane spellcasters to release him. He also believed he can do sort of a mixture of the two. That mixture of the two would allow it so that using the power of the book, it would cause a mortal blow to Ashura, aka Archmagister Valianceworth, that may also harm Nigel in the process, up to like a permanent disability, essentially. So the options were free Nigel, just to do that because he suffered long enough. Use a portion of the power of the book to inflict essentially inflict damage upon Ashura to help the battle along, or to sacrifice the book, which would essentially not only dramatically cause an imprint and an impact to damage Ashura, but would be the only option necessary to actually kill Ashura right out. Ashura, being one of the Shadow Lords, is an extremely powerful creature, as I explained to everyone. If we're talking raw stats above board, all the Shadow Lords are challenge rating 20 and above creatures. These are not creatures that you will be killing within the allotted time slots. While fighting these lords, you're essentially going to need to find other ways to banish at that point in time. Banish back to the Shadow Veil, but killing is outright. The sacrifice option is the only option that's on the table that seems to be a clear shot to flat out kill Ashura. By killing Ashura, you're securing the future of Phase 3. That's one less threat they're going to have to deal with, and ultimately it's a good thing there. So after a long time discussion, Malcolm begrudgingly thinks that from a mathematics side, the book should be sacrificed. And then I believe 3 other pirates also agreed with that, with Leighton and Zahani both saying not to sacrifice. Now, you didn't get a...
Dad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. Now, you guys... Now, you didn't get an input simply because you've remained petrified. And at that point in time...
And not for any other reason outside of the game.
Yes, exactly. Sweats. So the story thus far is the attack is about to begin. The misdemeanor needs to be sailing. And you still have a bit of time of restoration. So Malcolm has told the misdemeanor to go on ahead. He will remain behind because he will be with you along with the fight of Ashura, since you are the ones that are going to be able to handle the tome of the sacrifice of Nigel. He's going to remove, and so he'll finish the restoration. and you guys are going to teleport back to the to the Exodus Academy, to the Arcane Academy, to meet with the goblins, who will also be fighting the goblins and Aldoris, who is going to be facing off against their former headmaster, the Archmagister Brisbane, and Headmaster Valiantsworth, who has caused a lot of damage, a lot of issues, all of these people. So that is where we, at that point, with the restoration spell finished and complete, you'll begin to crack away as if you've been in a very long slumber, because you have been absolutely in the longest of slumbers. Like a lizard shedding its skin, the stone carapace that's around you from petrification will chip away, and you will be reverted back to your normal human form. You would probably at this point gasp, take a deep breath as you like fall down to the ground.
Yeah, he definitely falls over. Yeah. What happened?
Malcolm will simply stand over you, and you could tell, like, while you're on the floor, with his face, it looks a little like a pained expression, like he knows he's about to have an extremely uncomfortable conversation with you.
Alis will scramble to his feet and like look around for the dangers that were occurring at the time that he got petrified.
Relax, boy. We took care of it, he'll say, just kind of like under his breath, his heels echoing off into the library. He'll be holding on.
Where is everyone?
He'll be holding on to the Book of Nigel before turning over to you. The others have, well, cast off, as pirates do. They sailed face off against Asmodeus. He nods, and then simply says, "We're out of time." He holds the book in front of you. He'll say, "We've come to a difficult decision. I'm going to ask for your compliance for this, and you don't need to."
We? Who's we?
The crew, your crew, came to a vote. Oh, jeez, you've been petrified for a while, haven't you? Very well. He holds the book up, and at that point, he'll recount. We've been doing some studying within the archives while you've been restfully slumbering in your petrified state. Apparently, there's a lot we can do with this book.
Right, that's good news.
Well, we can release him, but we've all, well, at this point, you see that Malcolm, for the first time ever, is at a loss of words. He'll take a deep breath. He'll look over to you and say, "You understand what we're fighting off against. This isn't just the Archmagister of the Exodus Academy, or the fact that some deviant mage has been in disguise this entire time. It's exactly what you described. They've just transformed into a Lord of Shadow that's going to endanger our planet. If this thing is as powerful as it says it is, we're going to need weapons. We're going to need an arsenal if we are to save our future, if we're going to save all of the mortal races." Holds the book up front. "I believe I have discovered a ritual that will greatly balance the odds to our favor." And he'll sigh, "But it has a very costly," as he looks at the book, "material component." And then look back to you.
Tell it to me plainly. Say exactly what you mean.
"We sacrificed Nigel for the good of mankind."
I'm not doing that.
What?
I'm not doing that.
Malcolm will kind of look at you. He wishes to force like a surprise, like an expression of surprise at this point in time, before he recognizes that this was going to be a difficult conversation. "Look, this isn't games, and I understand that you would rather save a friend."
I've felt the power of these things. I know what it is we're going up against. And I'm saying I've never even met this person. And I can say that I'm not going to use them as a tool. Not in that way, to sacrifice in that way. You said there are other options. What are they?
He sighs a little bit, and he says the other options would be to use a fraction of the book's powers. We could still restore Nigel back to his form, but he would probably be disabled. I don't even know if he'd be able to cast magic again. Or we simply release him. You get your happy ending, and then we all die to a malicious demon. He turns his head over to you. Look, I'm not satisfied with the choices either, but we're up against a very powerful and dangerous foe, as you have explained.
Malcolm, just because we've run out of time doesn't mean that what we're about to do isn't wrong. And you know that.
At that point, he just kind of like puffs his chest up, moving over to you, and he says, I'm aware of that. Do you think I want to do this? Do you think I would have sacrificed the life of a boy that I've been tormenting for so long? Do you think I want to do this? I'm willing to bear that sin. If it means saving thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives, saving our very future.
Malcolm, he could be our greatest ally in the future. When people know what's coming and can actually prepare, he could make that choice for himself. He's had all of these choices taken from him, and now we're going to decide that his life is only valuable as a tool in this fight, and he has no agency of his own. Imagine someone with the life and power of Valiansworth, but using it to protect people. He could be that. How can we just close the door on that after all this effort you went through to save him?
You'll see Malcolm just looking down, holding the book in two hands, staring at it, and his eyes are kind of like watering up a little bit. And he looks forward to you, and he says, so what, we're supposed to take the chance of a possibility when we have the answer right in front of us? And he holds the book to you.
You don't think that we can at least seal this thing with a fraction of this book's power? The rest don't even have a chance against Asmodeus. We're doomed anyway. But I think that we can seal it, and we can prepare the future to deal with this properly, without having to kill a child for it.
You want this weight to be placed upon our future generations? When we have a solution right here? Kind of like look at you with like a face of bewilderment.
I think that they can be better prepared in the future. I think that we can prepare them.
Malcolm will kind of look off to the distance. It's at this point in the story that I would make note that when Leighton in Misdemeanor was explaining these things, Malcolm was almost convinced to just say, screw it, let's just free Nigel. But then as other pirates stepped forward to express that it just the numbers didn't match up. Malcolm at that point was stalwart with his resolve. And again, now at this point, the doubt is showing. Malcolm will just kind of look off to the side of the library and turn over to you.
Malcolm, sorry.
No, he'll say, your crew agreed upon sacrifice. They're expecting it. They're hoping that Ashuras will be outright killed, not just banished. It's devastating impact against Asmodeus. We don't kill Ashura and simply seal them away. We may have just sent your crew, our crew, into a trap. They may perish sailing off to Asmodea. Willing to sacrifice your entire family for this one boy.
Alis will look off to the side. Malcolm, if I live through today, I'm going to be a teacher. Not just a teacher, I'm going to open a school, and I'm going to give kids a place to learn and actually feel safe. The way that I didn't, the way that Nigel obviously didn't. I'm going to find kids who need guidance and give them patience and space to learn their power without the expectation to have it used in a war. I'm not going to build that future off the back of condemning someone younger than me to die for the greater good. I won't do it. And I think that every single person on that ship would understand that. You can tell me off and sit at the ritual and attempt this, but I don't think that you're going to be able to go through it either.
A silence falls over Malcolm. And deep in thought. And his eyes will water. Tears will stream down his cheek before wiping them away. A little bit of eyeliner running down. Once again, clearing it up.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Malcolm, I have faith. I think that they can do this, and I think that we can do this, and I think that we can be proud of what we've done. I don't think that it requires this. I just don't.
He looks down at the book. And he'll just say to himself, is that what we've been doing wrong this entire time? The cost of one life in exchange for so much. Just mathematically, it just seemed like the obvious choice, but I look over to you. We
can do this.
We would be sacrificing so much more. Our very morality, not just ours, but we would at that point just set a history that lives are simply numbers. We need morality, some kind of faith. We need goodwill again. I feel like we've lost that. Look over to you. Will hold the book, shaking a little bit. So what, we defy the vote? We make the choice here?
I think the people that are doing the ritual should make the choice. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones who are facing that consequence. On our very spirits.
Iron mentioned that one of the goblins that would be capable of releasing.
Alis will make a face.
Yeah, capable of doing this ritual. Only has a piece. Simply thinks we release Nigel and that will be our boon to the fight. I don't think he is aware of every other option. I'm afraid if we give them those choices, they may choose what your pirates chose. Sacrifice the book for the greater good. Do we simply release Nigel? The wheels are turning.
If we can use the book at all, if we can use the power that Valiansworth has tried so hard to get to, if we can use that against him and still preserve Nigel, if that's what you're saying that we can do, I think they'll find that to be a better option than just releasing him. I think they would get on board with that.
But are we only presenting that option? Or are we presenting all of the options?
I will not be presenting the option that I've already said no to.
Very well. This may maim the boy. All right with that. We can simply release him. The hopes it would be a challenging fight, but if you're going to put your value into the faith of humanity so strongly, what's a little challenge?
And let's release him. And let him decide if he's part of it or not.
Very well. He kind of blushes a little bit. Don't think I would be the best diplomatically to speak with goblins. I think I shall leave this
Aelus
up
will-
to you, and he'll hand you the book.
Aelus will sigh. You're saying that like I get along with them swimmingly, but I suppose it depends on which goblin it is. He'll take the book.
All right. Let us return to Atlas. We'll teleport to the Exodus Academy. We shall give the goblins our fine.
If he starts to walk away, Aelus will kind of gently, like, put a hand on his arm. And we'll just say, thank you for listening to me. And I guess that's it.
The hand rests on his arm for just a little bit. He'll have a small smile before he shrugs it off and says, "You simply made the better argument." And then he just walks forward in a huff. Just as the heels are just echoing off in the library.
Aelus will smirk, and he'll look down at the book, and sort of sigh and like brush a finger against the cover. Well, Nigel, I've done my best. Guess we'll see how this goes. And he'll walk after him.
All right. Feel free to drop down the goblin room. I'll see you in a little bit.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.